I blame Bauhaus Movement. I'm sorry that I dropped the bomb.
Architects hired artists to design buildings. It looks off, it looks awkward, it looks almost goofy.
But I think now people is fed up with this because it's really depressing.
Yeah, it is. And people are getting fed up with it. But it's just like they have had no choice for like the last 3 decades.
The other day, I went to the gym, and after going to the gym, I went back home. And then I realized that my way back home, like all the buildings that I always see every time I walk to the gym, they're nice looking.
Okay.
Except the building where I live. And you know why?
No.
Because the other buildings that I looked on my way to the gym, they're maybe 100 years old. But the one where I live in, it's a modern, contemporary building.
Yeah, they're hideous.
So I realized that type of architecture actually depresses me. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. It's horrible to watch.
It's an eyesore.
Yeah, it is. It is an eyesore. And it made sense building it maybe post-war because it was quicker and faster. But now it doesn't make sense to build that way.
Right?
I mean, except if you want to save money, which is the reason why they're building that.
Exactly. Except if you are a private equity or a real estate
landowner or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So because like in the past it was more like ornaments and like carvings and all these things. It was to illustrate like here's a good place, like here's a prosperity to live, like you should strive to come and live here. So there will be competition, or how do you say, like people were seek after these houses or buildings. But then when there's just a shortage of apartments, they know that, well, people can't be picky, so they're just gonna find whatever apartment they can, so we don't have to bother making it look nice. And that's kind of
what? I blame Bauhaus Movement. I'm sorry that I dropped the bomb, but I have to say it out loud. If you disagree with me, I really don't care. But I blame Bauhaus Movement because they were the ones initiating this idea that building has to be only functional.
Yeah.
That's its only purpose. So if you see a steel column, that's perfect. You don't need to cover it with ornaments or with decoration. That's just that creates friction. That's even the Bauhaus movement. They said that was an eyesore. Like there was a thing from the past, and you had to look to the future. But now we are in the future, and actually the future is kind of depressing.
Yeah.
And every part in the world looks the same. Every part in the world, they used to have its own personality, characteristic, its own je ne sais quoi thing, you know? That it was a representative of the culture of said place. And now it doesn't matter if you're in Tokyo, Beijing, London, or New York. Like everything looks kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean, yes, postmodernism, I don't know why that got any traction at all, but for some reason it was fused with these artists, and they wanted to artistify cities. And they just, architects hired artists to design buildings, and it's just the result is just what you described. The result is just, it looks off, it looks awkward, it looks almost goofy. And then you have this stale alternative to it, which is like it kills all the characteristics of a house. And it's you don't need to have it only visualize the function of the house. You can have it both ways. It's not a problem. All those things made sense like 40s and 50s, but now it doesn't make sense.
No. And this is the at least to me, I think this is the sad part. The way I see it, like this contemporary architecture, it's mostly dominated by men. I'm sorry that I'm putting this like gender thing here, but it's mostly driven by them. And most men, they don't care about how can I explain this? A home is not a place, is not an important place for a man. For them, it's okay if they have just a place where to sleep and maybe take a shower from time to time because they don't even shower daily. So it's like, just give me a type of shelter. It doesn't has to be perfect. And if it looks like an office or like a sterile hospital hallway, I don't care. If I can sleep, for me, it's fine. And that's it. So, and you have these glorified architects, male architects, and they just create this word salad of creativity and art and architecture and functionality, and then they actually inflate their own projects. And then when you see movements like Bauhaus, I'm sorry, but to me it's like that's an office area, but you are calling it a home. I don't see the connection there. But many people love that style, and I mean, everyone is entitled to its own taste, and if you like it, it's perfect.
But it's just.
But I think, sorry for the interruption, but I think now people is fed up with this because it's really depressing.
Yeah, it is. And people are getting fed up with it, but it's just like they have had no choice for like the last 3 decades.
And I have to say, this is my, well, call it, I don't know, conspiracy theory, whatever. But during or after Second World War, when you had the Soviets fighting for Berlin or part of it, and then the Western fighting for its part of the land. Well, Soviets in general, or communism. The one of the staples on communism, it was about building houses or building things for functionality and for a classless society in quotation marks. Okay. So they created, or maybe they even got inspired by Bauhaus and other movements, architectural movements in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And then you got all these block buildings that they were the same shape, form, and the same materials, just to save up money, right?
Yes.
While the West was doing its West thing, okay? But then I think during the 60s is when the West realized, hey, in communist or the Soviet Union, they're building this type of things and they're saving a lot of money building that way. We should create this type of buildings here also, because we are saving up money when we build this in our cities. And that's what they did in many cities around the Western world, or maybe not even the Western world, also in Japan, for example. So then I think even in capitalistic countries or societies, they started to build as in a communist country, because they realized that you save up money building that way. And now we have, in many places around the world, like communist building architecture. Don't you think?
I mean, yes, but at least in Scandinavia, they built those type of buildings in the 60s, 70s just because they were afraid of a nuclear war. So they were not bothering with building nice buildings because they were like, well, it's just going to get nuked by Russia anyway, so what's the point? And in the 40s, 50s, they built those, well, post 1945, they built those type of buildings because it was cheap and fast. And because all of Europe was destroyed, you need buildings quick. So it was almost like 4 decades where you built cheap buildings just because of reasons. And that kind of just kept on as tradition almost. Because as you said, it's really cheap and it's fast. So anyone who owns land or wants to convert something to apartments, it's very easy to do it with those Soviet-style buildings. And you save money doing it. But then you have a huge immigration to Scandinavia, Northern Europe, or Europe in general, after the war and during the Cold War from all over the world. So you have lots of people, and you have like a demand on apartments and buildings that you can see still today. There's still lack of, yes, you need housing. There's still lack of apartments today, like because of it's been a deficit for a very long time. So there's no reason to. I mean, the reasons they have no reason to swap out from building these stale, cheap block buildings, which is sad. But
it is.
If they would build nice buildings, like care about ornamentation and what people would like, more, let's say, 100-century-old style, you would still have people moving to those buildings from already existing houses. Like, you don't have to build cheap just because you want to solve a building deficit. You can build nice, and then just the people who have money will move to those nice ones. You have still created apartments. So, but they don't do that because it would cost more money.
Well, that's what I say, but I disagree, and I think they found a way to save money and reduce maybe some, mostly maybe labor cost, but not material cost actually, and you get lots of profit from something that is built fast and cheap, and only.
Yeah.
And then you sell it as a minimalistic, Scandic, Japandi, and it's just PR keywords that marketing keywords that are gonna attract buyers, and people buy those things, and now everyone has the same block that now called home.
Controversial opinion.
Okay.
Isn't just like modern art a way for but just used by corporation companies to swing around their products or their preferred design?
Yeah, probably.
Like, it seems like modern art is it seems like the people enjoy modern art are the top bougie rich people, and the ones doing it are not it's not the people from the lower class. It's usually the higher class doing this modern art shit. So it's not a surprise if it would be the same circles and they would just promote each other. So how do you make someone like a shoebox building, like a cube that looks like a piece of metal? How would you make a human like that? You would make it, you would circulate it around art, like modern, try to make it this edgy, like the art becomes almost like the advertisements. So you create this, I don't know what to say, like this hype that, oh, this is the new modern, all the important people want to live like this. So you create this thing around it. I mean, this is, how do you say, like conspiratorial. I mean, hypothetical, conspiratorial. But I seem to feel that as older I get, I see like there are closer ties between,
I think you're connecting some dots here. Yes.
I think so. Yes.
And it's really awful. If you live in a country where winters are long, it's like, oh, there's a reason why there's lots of depression and antidepressant consumption in certain regions.
I mean, have you been to, like, look at some parts we have here or in Scandinavia? They look like Russia, like seriously. They look like Soviets. I mean, if you come here, you don't
know if it's 2026 or it's 1952.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Actually don't know.
So somewhere is really fucking depressing. Yeah.
Did you know that there are studies about the correlation between depression and people that live mostly in cities, that people that live in buildings with those type of designs?
No, but I can imagine.
Yes. It's just like, I don't get, well, I kind of understand architects' ego, and they always want to feel this grandiose, magnificent project, and then they start to, use these words to describe their project. But at the end, at least to me, maybe because I'm not trained in the architectural way of seeing a building, but to me, what I see is a prison. Whatever they describe, the lines that go vertical lines, it's elevating I don't care. No. To me, that looks like a prison, and it seems that it's what do you call it? Like cell prison where an inmate is for what is called when an inmate is isolated by the other inmates.
Solitary confinement.
Yes, solitary confinement. Thank you. That's what it looks to me.
Yeah, that's what it maybe feels to many of these people.
It's like cold, sterile, empty. Like there's a void of nothingness.
Because, sorry, were you finished?
No, I mean, yes, but you can continue.
I mean, I was going to add to that what we associate with like something looking that pleasant or that we enjoy is buildings that looks like they were built by humans and that look more humanized buildings. Ornaments and style and colors and these things. And when we live in those, we feel somehow part of. It's more communal to live in buildings that we feel were made by humans.
Okay.
But modern buildings looks like they were made by machines. So the humanity is squeezed out of the building completely. So of course, if you live inside it, it's gonna feel like you live in isolation because there is no quote human touch in the building. So it's natural that why we would feel feeling isolated living in buildings that were made or that looks like they were built by machines.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
I just wanted to add that.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense why you feel isolated in those buildings.
Yes. And then everything is white.
Yeah. And
minimalistic. And it's literally telling us like this is a temporary place that you're gonna live, which I get it. Life is short, and one day you're here and the next you don't know. But that's more a philosophical thing, right? Yeah. Like life is a journey. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy your path. Well, okay, yes. But you don't have to take that literally. Even where we live, it has to be like, well, this is the room you're gonna leave for now. It's temporary, and then off you go.
Yeah, no.
Like, sorry, no. I want to feel that I have roots in that place.
You want to feel part of it. You want to feel that you grow inside the building.
Yes.
Of course.
And I'm sorry, but I think also we've been we bought the idea that a house is an investment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we don't do things according to our personality, according to what we feel we like to do in our homes. We don't do that because it's like, oof, but maybe this is gonna reduce the price when I'm selling this.
Exactly. We don't do what we feel like we want to do.
No, that's so sad because we are seeing a place where we are living as a temporary residence place. And I think that's sad because we got into I don't want to sound like many people, but we're inside this capitalistic machine wheel. But it's sad.
But yeah, exactly. Like the problem was that apartments became so expensive in comparison to other things because there was a shortage of houses. So that turned apartments from being something that instead of living in it, you invest in it. And it's just a shortage of apartments and not focusing on building like as the demand is. And then you have that.
You know what I feel when like with this contemporary minimalistic architecture, urban architecture that we are living in, it feels to me that now humans we're entering an area where they give you a towel, a toothbrush, and slippers.
Okay.
It's like, there you go. This is the only things you own. And whatever is inside these four walls, which by the way is nothing, is just your towel, your toothbrush, and your slippers. Because in minimalism, the concept of minimalism is like you shouldn't have many things out on display. So less is better. But then what's the difference with that as your residence home versus a hotel room, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Or an office.
Yeah, it becomes no difference at all in the end.
Or a hospital bedroom.
It's almost like it seems like one of those things that are mass produced, you know?
Yes.
It's like it's not mass produced, kind of not, but it kind of has that touch. It's like this is factory made. Even though it's an apartment, you obviously can't make it in a factory. It still feels that way. Exactly. And I think, again, all it has to do with is that the human touch is just squeezed out of it. In the name of saving money and building economically and building fast.
And also thinking of your home as an asset for not your permanent residence place where you're going to live for the rest of your life. You are thinking on, I'm going to move from here soon.
I think that's why people romanticize having land and a proper house more today than they did like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Today, people want to have a farm and be self-sufficient and have their own property. And it's because...
I'm one of those people, yes.
I mean, I can't plant anything where my property is, but it's still, it's my own, you know?
Yeah, but just imagine, it's I don't know, maybe it's because after living so much and so long in an urban area with this type of buildings, I'm starting to feel like I don't want to live this for in this type of residence for the rest of my life.
No.
I'm done with that.
You want to have your proper house that you can decorate, and you can fuse it with yourself. So you create the house as it is, or the house shapes after who you are, like how you shape the house yourself.
Exactly.
It becomes part of you.
And also shaping the house after nature.
Yeah.
So I want nature to be the architect of my home. If that makes sense.
In what way?
For example, if I'm having a plot land and then I'm gonna build, and then there are some bushes and some trees, etc. I'm gonna think on not cutting down those trees.
Okay.
I'm gonna think on building around, or somehow like I'm gonna how to say modify,
adjust,
or adjust. Exactly, that's the
adapt.
word. Adapt my building plan on the land.
I mean, it sounds interesting. I understand what you mean.
Yes.
But so nature would be your architect in a way.
Exactly.
But what if nature just decided, like, hey, you know what? No roof. Are you gonna be like, okay, no roof?
Well, maybe that's why I need to dig deeper and build a...
And live like moles.
Yes. And have an underground,
Or bunker.
Maybe not a bunker. No. The point is not to live on this square military type Soviet style thing. For me, I think I would rather to have a like country house.
Or a bunker made of wood.
I mean,
at least it looks nice.
Or like where the hobbits in Lord of the Rings.
Yes, the hobbits. Yeah.
The hobbits, they live inside
the hill.
Yes. So and the house is really lovely.
Yeah.
So something like that, like Bobo Hoggins, or what's the
Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins. Okay.
What did you say? Bobo Hobbins?
Bobo Hobbins. As Bobo Hobbins.
No.
As his house. I think that's a really cutesy house.
His house is called Bag End, by the way.
Bag End?
Bag End.
Bag End. Yeah. I mean,
I understand.
Now you're getting what I'm saying. So either something like that, or I don't know. I really don't know.
I think
I'm done with minimalistic.
I think one fun fact: those houses, when Tolkien wrote the book, he wrote those houses or drew those houses based on what he thought the British people would romanticize or what they would want. Like, this is what British people want to live in, you know? And it's like, it's still kind of true. Those houses are like, it shows that we as humans, because everyone finds those houses lovely. It shows that we still have this, like, we have a connection with nature in some way.
Exactly.
We romanticize it for a reason. Like, we just feels closer. I don't know. It's just something with us that triggers, because we're just animals. But because it's it's like almost like stateless. Everyone, no matter where you're from, likes those type of buildings. And he drew them 100 years ago almost, and still they're as romantic, even more so maybe. I think it says a lot about us as humans, and it also says a lot about how modern buildings are actually disconnecting us from ourselves, humanity, and nature, and maybe what that could do to us psychologically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in English, each on their own?
Each one on their own, or
like
each one to their own.
Each one to their own. So if you like the modern, minimalistic, clean look that looks more like a morgue type, like this.
Well, asylum center, or I mean, sorry, not asylum. I mean, mental asylum.
Yeah, like mental asylum. If that's your thing, perfect.
Yeah, we're all going crazy anyway. So
yes, and you know what's funny? Like now they're putting like gadgets. Like, oh, it's gonna be a smart home.
Ooh, yeah.
But it's like it's just a modern mental asylum type of apartment. Doesn't like imagine it's like you have a speaker inside your house that is calling you. Yeah, it's the same as a mental asylum. Like patient 33, go to reception and pick up your pills. You know?
There's like smart homes is actually like today they are really smart. Yeah, but it's like there's an example. It's a building in Amsterdam called The Edge. It has over 28,000 sensors all over the building. It's completely self-sufficient. Everything is controlled by a central computer in the building. And all the lights are connected to the network, like Ethernet.
Okay.
So that means that it can turn them off and on instantly, and it can perfectly dim them or turn them on. Like, basically, it can compute when to turn them on and off.
Okay.
It's not a switch. It's literally sending a signal via the local net. It has a local network.
Okay.
So when someone enters a room, it can turn on the lights. It can even predict how many people eat lunch at a certain day, at a certain time. For how long? When should the heating start? Like all these things, you know. So it's interesting in a way, but also if you think about it, that is basically a giant IoT device. And we all know how easy, I'm not going to say easy, but how vulnerable products or things that has internet connection to are to hack or to become hacked.
And every time they want to turn on something, do they call it Big Brother? Like, didn't they read 1984?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Big corporations don't like that book because it's
But the sad part is that there are many students, architecture and engineering students and students in general, that they also romanticize smart buildings, smart something. Oh, it's because the environment. Well, what if you try to do another type of building that is not necessarily that something that has its own brain and then decides for you what to do? I want to have my own agency. Don't tell me what to do. It's extreme control. Sorry, but they sell you those things as smart design. Bullshit. That's not smart. That's controlling.
I agree. I completely agree. But if I have to be the devil's advocate, what if they told you, not like if everyone on Earth wanted a wooden house that looks nice, the carbon footprint would be so huge that it would be really, it would be unsustainable going forward. Like we need to have smart homes to reduce carbon emission because just cutting down wood to build wooden houses, and because wooden houses you need to renew the wood and all these things.
Yeah, but that's why you use other materials, organic materials, that it is not necessarily wood.
I mean, you can have wood for personal houses, but for whatever, Walmart or like corporations, they can have these smart buildings. They're the ones doing all the emissions anyway.
Exactly. So they can have their Big Brother shit, but not on residential homes.
No.
But it's so sad that people is willing to live on those things, thinking, oh, this is so futuristic. This is nice. Oh, yes, I don't have to bother doing these things. It's like, don't be lazy, motherfucker.
And it's also, privacy. Like you want someone to be, essentially, if you're sharing information about yourself, you're basically saying that anyone who has access to the information are allowed to monitor and watch you. And to me, that's concerning because you don't know who this someone is.
Exactly. But then everyone is bullshitting, oh, China, let's into the dictatorship and they are controlling its citizens. Look what is happening in the West. Like, wake up, people. Wake up. Oh my God. I'm getting...